Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast. Y'all, I am so excited and stoked to have my email marketing coach, Liz Wilcox, on the podcast with me. And we're going to be touching on email marketing. So, for those of you caregiver entrepreneurs out there who are listening and lurking, this episode is totally for you because I think it is so important that you learn good email marketing skills. You need to write well. Social media obviously is a lot of times a big focus for your marketing skills for your business, which don't get me wrong, I do think it is important. But like what happened a couple of years ago, I don't know if y'all remember when Instagram, Facebook shut down and everyone that had all their business wrapped up in that, they went, oh no, how do I connect with my audience? How do I connect with my clients? Y'all, your email list is yours. And if social media crashes, you still have a way to have intentional conversations with your audience. So that's what we're going to be touching on today. And guys, like, follow, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, my YouTube channel, wherever you're watching this. And definitely be sure to check out all of Liz's amazing info that I will be linking below so you can get to know her as well. But Liz, thank you for being on the podcast today.
What's up, friends? Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to me today. I can't wait.
I am so excited. A little backstory. I don't know if I've told you this, Liz, but I first saw you when you were being interviewed. I believe it was by Caroline Bensel. And one thing that really resonated with me from that conversation that you had with Caroline is that you said that you talked about a little bit about how hitting send on that first email is so scary because just like with anything in being a business owner, there's a lot of vulnerability involved. You're being personable. You're wanting to build that like no trust factor with your audience, but we all have that inner fear, I think, of what if someone doesn't like me? What if my stuff's not good enough? What if I can't do what I want to do with my work? So I'm so excited that you're on to help take away some of that fear for people who are so scared to
Yeah.
hit click for this first time.
Yeah, there's something about email in particular, isn't there, where it
Yes.
just feels a little heavier. And I have a couple theories, but number one, you might come from a corporate background where email is just really annoying and it's the bane of your existence. And it's like, why is this person emailing me for the 10th time today? Or did anybody even proofread this before they hit send? Or why did you reply all? I don't need to know what Jack is doing today. So there's that little bit of agitation involved with email. And then because you've been so irritated with email before and so many people do it so badly, it feels like, oh, I don't want to be one of them, right? I know email is, an important place where people spend a lot of time. And am I really worthy, or is this email worthy enough to be interrupting their workday or interrupting their time at home, depending on who you're talking to? And so I totally get that fear. But, hopefully by the end of this conversation, you'll know exactly what to say, how to get in the inbox, get to the point, and get on with your life, so that, your people are, connected and contacted by you. They get what they need, and you both can move on with your day.
Absolutely. So I want to just pause for a little bit because I realize some of my listeners may not be acquainted with you, may not even know who this cool chick is that loves NSYNC. Hello, best boy band of the 90s ever. Hello. Sorry, Backstreeters, but NSYNC is where it's at. Um, let's let people get to know you a little bit. So can you tell our listeners a little bit more about your story into this entrepreneurial world?
Yeah, y'all, I was not a caregiver like you listening, but like I had a lot to take care of. I was married at the time. I had a toddler. We were living in 200 square feet. No joke. We were living in an RV, and I was starting a travel blog. And so, not unlike you, I had very limited time. My efforts had to go to my household. Um, without getting into stories that aren't mine to tell, like we had a lot of a lot of dot, 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 we'll say, right? And so I really had to manage my time, and I really had to come up with strategies that, like 20 minutes or less in the folds of my life, right? Because I could get on the internet, maybe I'm writing a blog post, I'm doing social media, and then somebody needs me. I'm getting called and I have to travel across town. Um, or just the toddler wants to play, or, my mom calls me and she needs me emotionally. Like, I am the matriarch of my family. If you're listening, you might be very similar. And so I didn't have time for all these 10-step strategies that a lot of people teach you, right? And so what I developed, especially with email marketing and what we're going to cover today, was in the folds of life. It was, I've got 20 minutes. I've just got to get in there and, say the most direct, impactful thing, turn my laptop off, and, get going with what matters the most, my family. And
Right.
so, yeah. And so that's how I developed, that's how I got, well, number one, that's how I chose email, right? Because everybody said, oh, it's got the highest ROI. And I don't know about you, but I needed to be very efficient. I could not waste time in my business. I had to either do it or don't, right? And so I said, okay, well, if email is the most effective and efficient, that's what I'm going to do. And then number two is I don't even know. I don't remember number two. Let's keep going.
That's okay.
It
But
was just the highest ROI, and that's what made sense to me. And that's what I developed. And then I got really good at email, and I sold that business. I went all in on email.
yeah.
Short story long.
No, but well, and I love that we have the similar path. Is back in the day when I started with a WordPress, excuse me, blog back in May of 2020. I held on to that till October of that year when I realized, you know what, blogging is not my thing. I niched down like 4 or 5 times. I could not figure out how. I've kept journals since I was a little girl, but writing professionally to like share information, it wasn't my strong point. I definitely prefer intentional conversations like this in person where I get to interact with a client or a guest on my podcast or another expert to share knowledge and have intentional conversation, meaningful conversation that way. And I think what's interesting though, since writing has been a struggle for me, what I really love about what you teach in your membership is that email doesn't have to be complicated. It is just a conversation, like like we're having a conversation right now. And sometimes it doesn't mean you have to sell in every email. Sometimes you need to just write that email like, hey, what's up? How you doing? What do you have you had a rough week, or how are things going? People want that. That's another way to build authority and trust is that, just treat people like people, right? It's not about blasting them in your face with a mile long blog post long length email. Less is more, and just sharing and being open and honest and just being brave is just really what it boils down to, because if you've chosen to be an online entrepreneur like we are, whether it's email marketing, whether it's caregiving and business coaching like I do, whether it's, I don't know, arts and crafts, whatever your calling is, you have this gift from the Lord, I believe, or God in the universe, whatever you choose to believe. For me it's the Lord, but you have it for a reason. And so it's a great disservice to your clientele if you don't share it. And they are only going to like you and know you and trust you if you show them that you're a person, if you're not just bombarding them like what I've seen with some email marketers where it's all about, here, buy this thing, buy this thing, buy this thing. It's like, no, who are you? Why are you doing, what's the story behind your work? Why are you even in my inbox? Why are you even building a business? What's the story behind the intention?
Absolutely. I always say, email, again, it might feel sort of cringy or really intense, but it's just a human to human conversation. And when you can be a human and write to another human, it becomes a lot simpler.
Right. So let's really break this down then. I really like to break things down into steps. Like when you break something that feels big into smaller chunks, it feels less scary and less overwhelming. So, what are maybe 3 tips? Like if people are just realizing, okay, I do want to start a business and I definitely feel strongly that email marketing is important. So I do want to start writing emails. what are 3 tips, simple tips that you would have for someone just starting learning to write email?
Yeah. So number one is you have to build your email list always. I don't like to tell people what to do. But email is like water. When was the last time you walked past stagnant water? It kind of stunk, right? There's stuff growing in it. Nobody, you're definitely not swimming in it, right? And how do you make sure that water gets, I don't know, unstagnant's not a word, but how do we freshen that water up, right? We don't zap it. We don't pour bleach in it. We don't, get a pool stick and, get all the leaves out. We dump fresh water into it, right? We got to get the water flowing. That's the same with your email list. If you say to me, oh, Liz, I've been emailing for a year and I've never gotten a client. It's like, okay, well, how much is your list growing? Do you have the same 100 people on your email list that have been with you for 3 years or have been with you for the last 6 months? You did one bundle and you haven't done any visibility strategies since. That's probably it. We get our list moving the same way we get water moving. We pour freshness into it, right? So we always need to be list building. That isn't to make you feel some type of way and to feel scary. List building and visibility go hand in hand. So just get yourself out there, network, connect, and people will find you. The second tip is to make sure you have a welcome sequence. So when you get those fresh subscribers, what are we saying to them, right? Make sure we're sharing a little bit of our personality, the vision we have for potential students or clients, and some of our values. How do we do business? Share that right up front so that people know, like, oh, yep, I'm on the right list. I am totally with Melissa. I love her already, right? Or nope, oh my gosh, Liz is way too crazy for me. Backstreet Boys for life. I'm out of here, right? So we gotta share it. We gotta share that right up front, okay? And the third thing is to just be consistent with your newsletters. And that doesn't mean you have to email every day. That doesn't mean you have to email every week, but be consistent in that welcome sequence. Let's go back to that one. Make sure you tell people, I'm going to email you once a month. I'm going to email you every Tuesday. I'm going to email you sporadically, when I'm in and out of, the doctor's office with my mother, right? Like whatever is true. And that shows people like, oh, okay, this person's taking care of their mother, but also they're going to email me when they get a chance, right? And that is enough right now to just get going. So in summation, I said, you got to grow your list, you got to have a welcome sequence, and you've got to consistently write those newsletters. Even if you tell people your consistency is sporadic. It makes sense, I promise, right? We just want to be upfront. Like, hey, I can only email when I can email. Stay tuned.
Yeah. And with those newsletters, guys, whether it's once a week, once a month, um, just give yourself grace when you're starting. I like another thing that you said in another um, thing I heard from you. You said just you're practicing. If you mess up, going back to that conversation that you had with Caroline, I think it was from that interview. You said, if you screw up in this newsletter, you're practicing, you're learning. You can try again next time, next week, or next month, however that is. It's a muscle, like with anything. Because here's the thing, I know from me, I'm a former healthcare worker. I was a certified nursing assistant for 15 years also, doing marketing. So none of that back end stuff was really my thing. I was hands on doing care, like bathing and dressing and therapy and things like that. And vitals. That was my jam. I wasn't doing any of the administrative stuff where I'd have to send emails or fill out paperwork or anything like that. So when you're starting an online business, it can feel overwhelming and sensory overload when you're learning all these skills. And email marketing in of itself has many layers of skills. You just have to learn to just be open. You have to learn how to sell eventually. You need to learn how to pitch whether it is an offer of a collaboration potentially, or even making a sale for your program or course or freebie or whatever. There's a lot of skills and you're not going to nail them right away, and that's okay. But the whole idea here, guys, is we want you to just start. We want you to just start writing your emails, start sharing who you are, build that like, know, and trust factor. And if you can be consistent now, just starting this week, this month, and keep doing that through 2024, y'all, you're going to be in such a different place by December of next year than if you would have just sat on the sidelines and not started. And you'll learn and you'll grow. I've been doing a couple bundles myself this month, and one was kind of frustrating because I had to do some tech with coupons, and I hate tech. It's been frustrating. But then there's another one that's been easier where I just drag and drop stuff into like an Airtable, and it's a little easier. So anyway, all that to say, every experience you will get something out of it. You'll learn, hey, that was I know how to do that now. I feel more confident. Or no, I am never doing it that way again because that was too complicated for me. I like doing it this way. But you're never going to know until you get your feet in the pond. You really have to be brave to get your feet in the pond.
I love that. Yeah. And if we want to make it really simple, if you're like, okay, but what the heck do I write? Like, yeah, it might suck, but I don't know what to write. And everyone and their mother, what I'm hearing is to tell stories. I'm not a storyteller. I don't have time to, sit here and come up with a story. And I'm with you. So I don't advocate for storytelling in newsletters. When you have a good story to tell, absolutely, share to your heart's content. But with email, and in order to make that connection, Melissa and I were talking about, you just got to do three things. I'm going to share those three things. And then I want to share with you just like a 20-minute newsletter framework, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Go
So
for it, girl.
yeah. So I teach people to just make friends in the inbox. And in order to make friends, you just got to do three things. Number one, show that you are invested in your people. And that might be, hey, I was really busy today, but I sat down to write you because it's really important, right? Suddenly, oh, this person's invested in me. They're busy, but they're writing me, right? It could also be sharing that you are, invested in the vision you have. I mentioned that a little bit when I talked about the welcome sequence, but what is the vision you have for your potential clients and students? For me, I want you to make money with email. I don't care about anything else in your business. All I care about is your email marketing. And so I share that all the time. Like last week, I sent out an email that was about a webinar that has to do with some email updates that Google is making. And of course, like I need everybody there so that they can learn with me, right? And alongside of me. And so sharing that shows that I'm invested in them making money because these are some important updates. Hey, you need to learn this. Come to this webinar, right? That's showing you're invested, right? Number two, share in a relatable way. You don't have to tell stories. You just have to be relatable. Saying something like, I was almost too busy to write this email today, right? Something I just mentioned. How relatable is that, right? Like, well, what a coincidence, Melissa. I was almost too busy to read this email, right? My fridge broke down. I had to take my mom to the doctor. I got a run in before, work today, like whatever your client is. What are those relatable things? My refrigerator broke. I took the dog for a walk. I was listening to NSYNC, right? Like NSYNC and the 90s has absolutely nothing to do with email marketing, but it's relatable. Like if you're not watching the YouTube and you're just listening right now, like you can't see it, but I've got like Seinfeld in the background and Poppy from Trolls and Survivor and Eminem and NSYNC. All of those are just things that I like that I want other people to relate to. I mean, Melissa said it best right at the top of the hour. Oh, I love NSYNC. Sorry, Backstreet Boys. Like that's something incredibly relatable to her. And, that was like an instant connection. So even just spending, I call it a personal update, just 2 to 3 sentences about something you've done since the last time you emailed is going to be way better for you as a busy caregiver to just get in the email and get on with it than trying to tell a story. So again, we want to show we're invested. We want to share in a relatable way. And no, I said relatable, not interesting. Being interesting is really hard. And especially as caregivers, we probably don't think our lives are very interesting. But we can be relatable. And then that third thing I already mentioned was to just stay top of mind, be consistent, right? But again, that doesn't mean every day, every week, right? When you do those first two things really well, when you show how invested you are in your potential student or customer, when you share how relatable you are, staying top of mind becomes so much easier. For example, if Melissa turns on her Christmas Amazon playlist tonight and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays by NSYNC plays, who is she thinking about? Liz Wilcox, right? And
Heck
I didn't
yeah.
have to do anything, but I'm top of mind because I've shown how relatable I am. I've shown that I'm invested in her. So she's thinking about me even when I'm not emailing. And that's the key. Any thoughts on there, Melissa?
Excuse me. No, I love that. And I like, um, it's interesting. I've had another coach that does more the storytelling thing. And for some of my content, I have pulled some things from that. And that is the case. It's like, how can relate and being relatable doesn't have to be necessarily through a story. I really agree with you that. And relatable could be something even not about business. Like Liz touched on it. She and I both have our 90s girls and we love we love the boy bands, and NSYNC happens to be front and center, the one that we like. Yes, NSYNC. Yeah, show it, girl, show it. But maybe it's something relatable in another way. Maybe it's your favorite tea, your favorite drink. Maybe it's a favorite hobby or a book. Maybe it's a similar way to unwind, or maybe it's a favorite tool you love. Like my business coach, Faith Mariah, she has gotten me so hooked on Asana and Notion, y'all. I could not live without those two pieces of software. But then I have other girls that I know in that same group that they hate digital stuff. They prefer a traditional paper planner because it makes more sense to their brain. It helps them just get stuff out and really vision what they need to get done. And that's fine. So relatability can look like a lot of different things. So so those of you listening, whether you've come for the business side or the caregiving side, if it's more the business side, even if it's a different niche than caregiving, whatever it is, whether it's arts and crafts, how can you show up in the inbox in a relatable way to have that human connection, that intentional conversation of really showing yourself not just as this robot person in the inbox, but a real human being that's there to show up with intention and, more importantly, to serve, right? We're in the business. Yes, it is to provide for our families. I know Liz has a daughter too. So we're moms, putting food on the table, providing for their education is something that is very important to us. But at the same time, we love what we do. We do it because we want to serve, we want to help people. So, because it's a creative outlet, Liz has just gotten the bug for writing. For me, I still want to learn. I'm learning. That's why I hired Liz. Hello, that's why I hired my girl. But I also love intentional conversations like this. That's why I started the podcast. That's and my coaching practice. That's why that was born and why I ditched the blog, because that was not for me. So what is for you? How do you want to show up in the world to serve your clients or your audience? What what are some ways you could try now and just start to share your story, to share your journey? Maybe story isn't the right word. Share your journey. Where are you at? When you're relating to your inbox, maybe it's popping and said, "Hey, what's up? How's your week been? I don't know about you, but it's been crazy for me because I had X, Y, and Z hit the fan today or this week." Okay. Or maybe, "Hey, guess what, guys? I can't believe it, but this happened. Hey, hit reply back and share a hi with me. I want to celebrate you in your journey."
Oh my gosh, Melissa is nailing it. She doesn't even need me,
No,
guys.
I
Like
do
this is
need you. No, I
no,
still
this
need
is
my girl.
that's so perfect because that's again what Melissa just said about, hey, share a win with me too. Like we're in this together. That is what I was talking about earlier, that human to human interaction, conversation, connection. That's just Melissa being Melissa, right? That is just her saying like, hey, I want to win with you. Like, here's what's going on in my life. Or, maybe it's, hey, this sucks today. Send me back your crappy thing so we can commiserate together, like whatever your attitude is for that day.
Yeah.
And yes, this will work no matter what kind of business you're in. All of these I developed as an RV travel blogger. I was talking, no joke, the majority of my email list were men in their 60s, right? Uh,
Oh, wow.
and so I was relating to them in that way. I was saying, oh, I hope to travel here. I hope to travel there. What are your travel plans for the week? Or, where are you at in your journey? Like I was genuinely just trying to connect with these people. And when you can do that in your newsletter, just like Melissa said, hey, I'm on a roll. Tell me something good in your life too. Like that's where, especially if you have a client-based business, if you're a service provider, that's where those warm leads come from. That's where, if you've been emailing for 6 months and, there's somebody that's emailed back, at even 2 times, and you've had little side conversations, you can email them directly, or you can send that sales email, or you can say, hey, I've got a booking based off what you've been telling me. Like, here's why I think we might be a good fit. Would you be interested, in moving forward or whatever. And that's where you can really have those conversations, and you can see if everybody keeps saying no, you can say, okay, what am I doing wrong here? And, you might even be able to open up conversations, or you might say, oh, well, uh, they're replying, they're saying this, but my program doesn't exactly cover that. Or maybe I'm not talking about it the right way. So I need to highlight this part that they're not seeing, right? And it's those conversations that lead to not only connection, but to cash flow.
Right. Yeah. It just all starts with a conversation and an intentional one of not being, because I know there's this big buzz too with AI, like it's good, is it bad? Personally, for me, I use AI just to generate ideas, but then I'm big on going and tweaking, making it sound like me, get the idea to be able to have, so you're not staring at the blank screen, but it still needs to be from you across the board. So showing up on social media, showing up on email, showing up in your program. It just needs to all be you. They want the essence of you. And for some people, the essence of you maybe is from this in terms of support. Like Liz is teaching you a skill in terms of email marketing. For me, it's more systems to be organized so you can balance, all the information you have for your loved one's illness, and also just having simple systems, excuse me, to make it easier and more manageable to run your home, whether it's laundry or doing the dishes or having a cleaning schedule, and then also just your business, or when are your office hours, and how do you like to organize your information so you can use it again and again and just find it and be more productive with those office hours, whether it's 2 hours like I get Monday through Friday, or whether it's 5 hours or 8 hours. Well, if your kids are at school the whole day, my kid's only in half day kindergarten right now for this year. So my time's limited, but it's still intentional and it still means a lot to me. So how do you want to invest your time with your time? That's the other part too. So for email, again, it's not about writing that long blog post email. Like Liz says, 20 minutes, a short
Yeah,
little
let's
message. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. We're not looking for professional copy or anything here. Just talk how you would talk.
absolutely. So let's talk about that 20-minute framework. So, of course, you got to have a greeting. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Liz. And then just this is where you share that personal update, 2 to 3 sentences about something you've done since the last time you emailed them. You know, I took my dad to tour new hospitals. I took a day off for myself and turned my phone off for 3 hours. My fridge broke and I had to deal with that. Things are going really well and I'm just overall feeling good, whatever, really quick, 2 to 3 sentences. Then just segue. And this is the part where people get tripped up because suddenly their 10th grade English teacher is screaming at them like, this is bad, with the red pen, and we break out in sweats. But I'm here to tell you, just like Melissa said, like just, get into it. And so hit that caps lock button. I know you know where that is, right? On your keyboard. And just type in anyway, ... What I really want to talk about today is, and then that's the content, right? That's my new podcast. I opened up a Pinterest account. my Instagram reel, this blog post I wrote, or you can type directly into the newsletter. 3 tips for XYZ. NSYNC is going on tour. Here it is, hashtag manifestation. That's not
I
actually
know,
true
right?
yet.
I
Not
We'll
actually true
see. We'll
yet.
see what happens, girl. I don't know what's going to happen if they're
We
going to
don't
do it or
know.
not. So,
Right. But yeah, so just, have the greeting, the quick personal update, and then segue into whatever content that is, whether it's your content, someone else's, whether it's content on a different platform, or it's right there in the newsletter itself, and then just get out of there. Right. So, for example, if I was to write my newsletter right after getting off this call, I would say, hey, Roberto, Liz here. I spent the whole weekend reading books and I didn't turn the TV on one time. It felt really, really good to be in this learning mode. Anyway, what I really wanted to talk about today is this new podcast episode I recorded with Melissa Miller. It's all about how caregivers can save time with 20-minute newsletters. I hope you take a look at it. Okay, thanks for reading. Bye. That's probably about 400 words, maybe less. I shared a little bit about my weekend, aka I'm relatable.
right.
I segued into the content. Hey, I've got this podcast episode, aka I'm investing in you. Listen to this so you can, so I can teach you something. I thanked them and I got out of there. I completed that. That took me 20 seconds to write. It's probably going to take me another few minutes to type, another few minutes to edit and tell myself I sound stupid, and 2 more minutes to convince myself to hit send, right? 20 minutes.
No, I love that. Simple and easy and relatable. Guys, I challenge you whenever you're watching or listening to this episode, whether it's right when it drops, when it's dropped, or a week later, if you've been behind and you're trying to catch up on your podcast episodes that you want to listen to, I'm throwing down a challenge for y'all. I want you to write an email, something, and then tag Liz and I on our Liz. Do you have Instagram?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at
Tag us on
the Liz
Instagram.
Wilcox.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll have Liz's Instagram and my Instagram below, but that's the challenge. Whenever you're listening to this episode, I want you to write an email, even if it's batching it for like a week ahead. So, like, say you've already done your weekly email and you're batching for like the next month, if you do monthly or the next, or do weekly, like what I do, try to do. That's the challenge. Action creates clarity. So I want you to actually do something. So, and I'm going to do this. I have to write my Monday email too. I got my lovely reminder from Liz this morning. So thanks, coach. So that's the challenge. Write an email, click send or schedule if you batch, and then tag Liz and I on our Instagrams so we can celebrate you and go, hey, you're taking action. You're willing to be brave. You're not just talking about what you're doing, you're actually doing it. So that's the challenge. So hashtag email challenge and then tag Liz
I
and I.
love it.
So tag Liz and
Yeah.
I in it and we will cheer you on. We want to see I want to see our social media notifications just go through the roof because you guys are actually writing something. And I'm doing it too. Your girls are doing it too. I will tag Liz on Instagram when I do mine. So that way
I'll do
we can
it
celebrate.
too.
Okay,
I'll do
let's
it
do it.
too because I got to write my newsletter for the week also. Mine goes out at the time of this recording tomorrow. So I'll do it too.
Okay, so there you go. Hashtag email challenge, tag at Liz Wilcox, and tag at Melissa Miller 2011 on my Instagram. And let's just be intentional. Okay, so let's do it. It's been thrown out. Liz, as we wind down this amazing conversation, where can we find you? What do you have in the works? 2024 is going to be here before we freaking know it. So, this is your time to promote. So just share all the stuff about where we can find our girl.
Yeah, so I'm an email marketer. I'd love for you to check out my emails so you can see just how easy it is. You can go directly to lizwilcox.com. In the top right-hand corner, there's a hot pink button. You can't miss it. You're going to get an entire welcome sequence that leads you through that personality, vision, values we talked about. It's already written for you. You can take and make it your own. You're going to get 3 newsletter examples so you can see what I mean by 20-minute framework. One to show you how to get people to click, another to show you how to get those coveted replies, and a third to show you how to get people to buy directly from your newsletter. And if that's not enough, I know writing from scratch, it totally sucks. So you're going to get 52 subject lines for a year full of prompts, all for free. LizWilcox.com, hot pink button, you can't miss it. And then my Instagram is at the Liz Wilcox, THE Liz Wilcox.
Awesome. Awesome. And about your email marketing membership, when will the doors open again for that? If people
Oh,
are
yeah.
interested.
So I have a $9 a month membership. The doors are always open. You could join right now. You get access to weekly templates, live Q&As once a month, some other awesome goodies. One, I talked about list building. There is a 90-minute list building training in there. There's, I go more into depth with some other trainings. There's guest experts, all that. But really, if you're struggling with writing the newsletter and really figuring out how can I make this simple, what Melissa was talking about earlier, me reminding her on Monday. Every Monday, I send you an email template for you to take and make your own. It's $9 a month, cheaper than Netflix. I think more productive too. So check it out.
Oh yeah, guys. And when I say there's templates, y'all, there's a buttload of templates in that membership. It's amazing. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. So definitely check it out. I'll make sure that I plug my affiliate link below and also Liz's credentials too. So if you want to check it out, you guys can check it out. So Liz, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It has been a joy to have this conversation with you. And I really hope and pray that it will just help some other, um, you know, worried, concerned, overthinker email marketers out there to actually take action and start sharing their story in a relatable way, because that is the way where that is what's going to help them get that ROI that they so desperately want.
Amen. Thank you for having me. I can't wait to see what everybody does with email.
I know. And with our challenge, I want to see y'all remember, yeah, tag us on Instagram. We want to see it. Let's see those monthly emails or weekly emails or whatever. So hashtag email marketing challenge. That's the hashtag we will use. So anyway, guys, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe because guys, I have some brand new content coming out in January. I'm so excited, and a brand new mini offer. So you're going to love it. So I'm not going to divulge any more information there. It's a surprise, but you're going to love it. So get on my email list, subscribe to the podcast. That way you will be the first to know when new details for those offers and the new content drops. But anyways, guys, take care, be safe, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. And just remember that you're doing the best you can. Nobody knows your loved ones' needs and your business's needs better than you do. And just remember to give yourself grace. Okay. Like we always talk about, just give yourself grace. Take it one day at a time, breathe, and know that you are doing the best you can. And that's all anyone can expect of you. Even Liz and I, as business coaches, all we want for you is to just start and taking action, even if it is just one step at a time or one email at a time, as we've talked about. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.